The first time I touched him, I didn't see how he would die. That terrified me more than all the deaths I'd ever seen before. Because everyone dies. Everyone. Except him. They say everyone has a gift. Mine was a curse. The curse. My name is Mara. And whenever my skin touches another human being, I see one thing. The exact moment they will die. Not a vision. Not a possibility. A certainty. A car crash at 3:17 p.m. A hospital bed with no visitors. A quiet bathroom floor at midnight. I see it all. Always have. Childhood memory. I was 6 years old the first time it happened. I held my mother's hand while crossing the street. And suddenly, I wasn't there anymore. I was standing in a hospital room that smelled like bleach and fear, watching her chest rise, and then stop. I screamed and let go of her hand. He thought I was scared of traffic. 3 years later, she died exactly the way I'd seen. That was when I learned the truth. Rules to survive. After that, I made rules. No touching. No hugs. No crowded places. Gloves became my armor. Distance became my home. People thought I was cold. They had no idea how much I was protecting myself. Because knowing when someone dies doesn't make you powerful. It makes you helpless. The world moves on. New York doesn't care about curses. The city keeps moving. Subways screaming underground, people brushing past each other like collisions waiting to happen. Every accidental touch meant another death burned into my mind. So I learned to move carefully. Head down. Hands to myself. Alone. Until the night everything went wrong. The subway platform. It was raining. Of course it was raining. I hadn't eaten. I hadn't slept. My head was pounding like the city itself was trying to break into my skull. The subway platform was packed. Someone bumped into me. I gasped. A vision exploded in my mind. A man choking alone in his apartment 3 months from now. I staggered back. Another touch. Another death. I felt dizzy. Weak. The world tilted. And then, I fell. The touch that changed everything. I never hit the ground. Strong arms caught me. Bare skin touched my wrist. I screamed. Not because I was falling, but because I saw nothing. No vision. No death. Just darkness. Silence. Endlessness. I looked up, shaking. The man holding me wasn't shocked. He wasn't confused. He was watching me, carefully. Like he'd been waiting for this moment. The stranger. He was tall, dressed simply, with eyes that felt old. Not tired. You don't see it, do you? He asked quietly. My breath caught. What? I pulled my hand back violently. What are you? I whispered. He smiled faintly, but there was sadness in it. Someone who shouldn't exist much longer. Panic. I ran. I didn't look back. Didn't wait for explanations. Because for the first time in my life the curse had failed. And that meant one of two things. Either he wasn't human, or I was losing my mind. Both possibilities terrified me. The aftermath. That night I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes I felt his hand around my wrist. Warm. And empty. No death waiting at the end. For the first time the future was silent. And silence was louder than any scream. The question. If I couldn't see his death, did that mean he was immortal? Or did it mean his fate was tied to mine? The next morning I found something written on my fogged bathroom mirror. 3 words. We need to talk. And I knew. He had found me. I had seen thousands of deaths. But I had never seen a life that didn't end. Until I touched him. The message. The words on the mirror wouldn't fade. We need to talk. My apartment door was still locked. The windows were shut. No signs of forced entry. Which meant one thing. He hadn't broken in. He had been invited. And that terrified me more than any vision ever had. Fear versus curiosity. I stood there for a long time staring at my reflection. My hands were shaking. I should have run. Packed a bag. Changed cities. Vanished. That's what I always did when things got dangerous. But this was different. For the first time in my life, my curse had met something it couldn't touch. And I needed to know why. The knock. 3 soft knocks echoed through the apartment. Not rushed. Not aggressive. Patient. Like he knew I'd open the door eventually. I slid my gloves on before turning the handle. When I opened the door, he was standing there exactly as I remembered. Composed. Impossible. The conversation begins. You followed me, I said. He shook his head. No. I waited. For what? For you to stop running. His voice wasn't threatening. It was tired. I don't know you, I said. You know what I am, he replied. I swallowed hard. Then say it. He met my eyes. I'm the reason you see death. Denial. I laughed. A sharp, broken sound. That's not funny. I'm not joking. You're insane. Possibly, he said. But not about this. He stepped closer. I stepped back. Don't touch me, I warned. I won't, he promised. Not unless you ask. That promise alone made my heart race. Truth. Partial. He told me pieces. Never the whole thing. He said he existed between endings. That some people were born with sight. That my curse wasn't random. It was inherited. From who? I asked. He hesitated. From someone who loved you. My chest tightened. My mother. He didn't answer. Which was answer enough. Why him? Why didn't I see your death? I demanded. Because I don't have one, he said simply. I stared at him. No one lives forever. I don't live, he corrected. I last. The words sent a chill down my spine. The rules change. He explained that when timelines fracture, someone has to hold them together. Guide endings. Close doors. And sometimes, break hearts. And you? I asked. I closed the final door. Then why are you still here? His gaze softened. Because of you. The first crack. I hated how calm he was. Hated how safe I felt standing near him. Get out, I said. I will, he replied. But you're not safe anymore. That made my blood run cold. From what? From knowing me. The warning. He told me there were others like him. Not guardians. Hunters. And now that I'd touched him they could feel me. You're visible now, he said. To what? To fate. The moment that changes everything. Before leaving he looked at me one last time. If you ever want answers, he said, take off your gloves and find me. And if I don't? He smiled sadly. Then I'll watch you from the places you never look. That night I dreamed of a future I had never seen before. Not a death. Not an ending. Just his hand reaching for mine. And a choice I wasn't ready to make. The deaths started changing after I met him. Not the endings. The timing. The first sign. The next morning I broke one of my rules. I left my gloves at home. I didn't plan to. I just forgot. Or maybe a part of me wanted to see what would happen. The city felt louder without them. Every brush of air against my skin made my heart race. I boarded the bus and gripped the pole. Bare hand. Instant regret. The vision that shouldn't exist. The vision came but wrong. I saw a woman standing at a crosswalk. Alive. Breathing. Smiling. Then the image split. 2 endings. One where she stepped forward and died. One where she waited and lived. I staggered back gasping. That had never happened before. Death was always certain. He'll now. His warning echoes. You're visible now. The words echoed in my mind. Something had changed. And deep down I knew exactly who had changed it. The shadow. I felt it before I saw it. That heavy pressure in the air like a storm about to break. Someone was watching me. Not a person. Something else. I turned. A man stood across the street, smiling too slowly. When our eyes met, I saw his death. But it wasn't a moment. It was a hunger. Run. I didn't wait. I ran. Through crowds, through noise, through fear pounding in my ears. The smile followed me. Not close. Not far. Patient. Like it knew I couldn't run forever. I turned a corner and crashed straight into him. The man from the subway. The one without an ending. He caught me easily. This time I didn't pull away. Don't look back, he said quietly. I didn't have to. The pressure vanished. The air cleared. He was a hunter, he said. One of the others. My hands shook. Why me? Because you can change outcomes now. I stared at him. I was never able to. Until you touched me. The truth deepens. He took me somewhere safe. An old library buried beneath the city. No phones. No windows. Just dust and silence. You were never meant to only see death, he said. You were meant to choose. The words settled into my chest like a weight. What does that make me? I whispered. He looked at me with something dangerously close to reverence. Powerful. Tension. Hours passed. We talked. About rules. About boundaries. About why he never touched me unless necessary. You're afraid, I said. Yes, he admitted. Of hurting me? No, he said softly. Of wanting to stay. The honesty stole my breath. The second touch. It happened when I tripped over a loose step. Instinctively I grabbed his hand. No gloves. No barrier. This time the vision didn't stop. It expanded. I saw his past. Timelines collapsing. Worlds restarting. Him walking away from people he loved before they could be taken from him. Tears burned my eyes. You're so alone, I whispered. His grip tightened. And now, he asked. I didn't answer. Because I didn't know yet. The price. Every time you change an outcome, he warned, something else shifts. Like what? He hesitated. Me. That terrified me more than the hunters. That night as I slept in the library, I dreamed of his disappearance. Not his death. His absence. And when I woke up, the hunters had found us. The moment I touched him on purpose, the world noticed. The hunters arrive. I woke to silence that felt wrong. Not peaceful. Alert. He was standing at the edge of the library, tense, eyes locked on the shadows between the shelves. They're close, he said. My heart raced. How many? Enough. Before I could ask more, the lights flickered. The air thickened like reality itself was holding its breath. Then footsteps echoed. Slow. Deliberate. Hunters didn't rush. They waited for fear to bloom. They're not here for me, I whispered. Yes, he said quietly. They are. But they want you, I argued. He looked at me. They want what you can become. That landed heavier. Faith. He grabbed my wrist. Not hard but urgent. Listen to me, he said. When this starts, you don't touch anyone. Especially me. Why? Because if you do, he said, voice low, you won't be able to go back. To what? He hesitated. Being human. The word echoed in my chest. I pulled my hand free. I never really was, I said. The hunters emerged from the shadows. 3 of them. Human-shaped. Wrong-eyed. Smiling like they already owned the ending. Give us the girl, one said pleasantly. She's disrupting the flow. The man beside me stepped forward. No, he said simply. The room shook. Books flew from shelves. Reality bent, not breaking but protesting. I had never seen him fight. Now I understood why he avoided it. When fear fails. One hunter lunged toward me. I didn't scream. I didn't run. I reached out and touched him. The vision hit me instantly. I saw his ending. But this time, I saw how to stop it. I shoved him back, yelling the moment out loud. He hesitated. And that hesitation killed him. The hunter dissolved into ash. Silence followed. Everyone stared at me, including him. After the fight, the remaining hunters vanished. Not defeated, warned. The man turned to me slowly. What did you do? He asked. I chose, I said. His expression was a mix of awe and fear. You're changing the rules, he whispered. So are you, I replied. The confession. Later, when the adrenaline faded, we sat across from each other in the dim library. You should hate me, I said. For what? For dragging you into this. He shook his head. I've been waiting centuries for someone like you. The words wrapped around my heart. Someone who doesn't just see endings, he continued, but dares to challenge them. The moment I stood, walked toward him, every instinct screamed danger. Every emotion screamed truth. You told me not to touch you, I said. Yes. I'm going to anyway. His breath caught. Mora. I placed my hand on his chest. This time there was no vision. No past. No future. Just now. His hand covered mine. You don't know what this does to me, he whispered. Then tell me. It makes me want to stay. It wasn't desperate. It wasn't rushed. It was careful, like both of us knew this moment would echo forever. When he kissed me, the world didn't end. It shifted. Somewhere far away, something ancient took notice. The consequence. He pulled back suddenly. We shouldn't have done that, he said. Why? Because now, he whispered, they'll come for you first. I smiled, heart pounding. Let them. That night, the curse spoke to me for the first time. Not as a vision. As a voice. Choose carefully, it whispered. Because loving him will erase one of you. And I didn't know which one it meant. The future stopped obeying me. And I knew. One of us was about to disappear. The voice returns. After that night, the curse never stayed silent again. Sometimes it whispered. Sometimes it screamed. But it never showed me death the way it used to. Instead, it showed me possibilities. Fractured, unstable, overlapping. Every choice I made caused ripples. Not just for strangers. For him. The first loss. It started small. A woman I saved last week still died. Just later in a different way. A man I warned avoided the accident. Only to vanish from existence entirely. Not dead. Erased. That terrified me more than death ever had. Something is wrong, I told him. I know, he replied quietly. You're overriding fate. And the cost. His jaw tightened. It always collects. The distance. He began pulling away. Standing farther from me. Touching less. Watching me like someone memorizing a face they were afraid to forget. You're leaving, I said one night. He didn't deny it. I have to, he whispered. Before this finishes what it started. What it started together, I snapped. His voice cracked. If I stay, you won't survive what's coming. The truth he hid. Finally, he told me. Every guardian has an anchor. A fixed point in time that keeps them from fading. For centuries, his anchor had been his duty. No, it was me. And anchors, he said softly, eventually sink. My chest tightened. So you'll disappear? Yes. And if you leave? I might last, he admitted. But you'll lose the ability to choose. I stared at him. So either you fade, or I become blind again. He nodded. The curse laughed inside my head. The argument. You don't get to decide this alone, I said. I've decided alone for lifetimes, he replied. That was before me. Silence stretched between us. I love you, he said finally. The words felt like a wound. Then stay, I begged. He stepped back. That's the one thing I can't do. The goodbye. He left that night. No drama. No final kiss. Just absence. The city felt louder without him. Sharper. And the curse grew stronger. The future breaks. Without him, my visions went wild. Too many outcomes. Too many threads. People glitched in and out of existence. Time stuttered. And the hunters returned not to kill me, but to claim me. You're becoming something else, they said. A convergence. I knew what that meant. If I didn't choose soon, there would be no future left to choose from. The realization. I finally understood. The curse wasn't punishing me for loving him. It was preparing me. Because the only way to save him was to replace him. The decision. I found him at the edge of the city, where timelines thinned and reality felt fragile. You were right, I said. He turned shocked. I can't let you disappear, I continued. So I'll go instead. No, he said instantly. Yes, I replied calmly. I can see how this ends now. I took his hand. One last time. I choose to become the thing that watches endings, I whispered. So you can finally live. The curse wrapped around me like light and fire. And as I felt myself unravel, he screamed my name. The last thing I saw was his future. Not death. Not disappearance. A life. Without me. I had seen the end of everyone's story. Except my own. And that was the most terrifying freedom of all. Becoming the watcher. It didn't feel like dying. It felt like stretching. Like my body was no longer enough to hold what I was becoming. Time peeled open. Moments overlapped. I was standing everywhere and nowhere, watching lives ignite, unravel, fade. I understood it then. The curse was never meant to punish me. It was training. What I became. I wasn't human anymore. But I wasn't gone. I became what he had been. A watcher of endings. A guardian of fragile threads. I felt him far away, screaming my name into a world that no longer answered. And it broke something inside me. Because I could see his future now. Painfully. His life without me. He survived. First barely. He wandered cities like a ghost, touching nothing, loving no one. But time, cruel and persistent, did what it always does. Kept going. He laughed again. Years later he helped strangers without knowing why. He stood in the sun. He lived. And every time he almost looked happy, I turned away. Because loving him meant letting him go. The rule I discovered. Eternity has laws. One of them surprised me. Watchers are not forbidden from love. They are forbidden from interfering. And love, I learned, is interference by nature. But rules can bend. The fracture. Decades passed. Or seconds. Time meant nothing anymore. Then one day something broke. A future refused to settle. A moment twisted back on itself. I followed the fracture and found him. Older. Human. Standing at the same subway platform where we first met. And this time, he was the one about to fall. The impossible choice. I wasn't supposed to touch him. If I did, the balance would collapse. Another watcher would have to replace me. Another curse would be born. But I knew the ending. I had always known. Some loves don't exist to last. They exist to change everything. Touch. I stepped out of the space between moments, reached for him, and caught him before he fell. His eyes widened. Recognition flashed. Mara, he whispered. For the first time since I changed. I smiled. I told you, I said softly. I'd always choose. The host. The world surged. Light tore through me. I felt myself unravel. But I didn't regret it. Because this time, I saw my own ending. And it was beautiful. After. He survived. He always would. But now when he touched people, he felt something warm brush past him. Like a memory. Like a promise. Sometimes when death stood near it hesitated. As if waiting for permission. The legend. They say there's a woman you'll never see. But sometimes feel. That when fate pauses she's there. Watching. Choosing. Loving. They say she once loved a man so deeply. That she became the reason endings exist at all. Final line. I never saw how my story ended. Because some endings aren't meant to be seen. They're meant to be felt.